Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Mordy and Glory video. Today's video is going to be one to excite the treadheads of the Guard community because it looks like Mech Guard is back on the menu, boys. As more and more information about 10th edition is coming out, it is becoming increasingly obvious that it is going to be the addition of the tank and perhaps even mechanized warfare. And if there is one faction in 40k that is famous for its tanks, it is his Imperial Guard. And so what I want to do in today's episode is bring all of this fantastic good news about tanks together into one place, analyze it a bit, and then carry out some baseless speculation for what it might mean for our 10th edition Guard army lists. So without further ado, let's mount up, roll out, and dive right into today's episode. Now, the first thing that's going to give you an uncomfortable feeling in your trousers is that all vehicles in 10th edition are going to be getting significantly tougher. How they are going to do this is they are expanding the toughness out, so no longer will the upper toughness of the game be T8 or occasionally T9. Now we're looking at toughness 12 vehicles and maybe even some going as high as toughness 14. This gives Games Workshop much greater granularity when it comes to applying toughness values to vehicles. And one of the examples that they gave was the Storm Speeder and the Rhino, both of which had toughness 9. The best bit about Games Workshop sharing this datasheet is that it allows us to extrapolate and speculate what that could mean for the Guard. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty certain that Guard armor traditionally has always been tougher than Space Marine armor. We've always been about having those crude yet incredibly durable war machines that just grind our opponents underneath our iron tracks. So I think that if a Rhino is going to be toughness 9 and a Speeder is going to be toughness 9, then that probably means that our Taurox is going to be toughness 9 and our Sentinels are going to be toughness 9. But those units have always been relatively fragile in the Guard motor pool. So if I was a betting man, I think we're going to see toughness 10 Chimeras, and I think we could be seeing toughness 12 or higher Leman Russes. This would be a huge durability boost to these vehicles, and it would be really impactful for Mech Guard players, because Chimeras and Leman Russes, they are the core of every successful Mech Guard list. You have lots of infantry riding around in their iron steeds, being supported by the lumbering behemoths of the heavy armor. But wait, there's more, because we also have an idea of what anti-tank weapons are going to look like in 10th edition as well. Because thanks to the Terminator datasheet, we know what a crack rocket does. Now, crack rockets are like the most basic bitch anti-tank weapon you can get. They are the baseline. They're like the tactical marine of anti-tank weapons. Some are more powerful, some are weaker, but they're the one that everything else is based around, all right? Now, if the crack rocket is only strength 9, and we've got toughness 10 Chimeras and toughness 12 Leman Russes, then that means that our tanks are only going to be getting wounded more often than not on 5s. That is absolutely insane. For our Chimeras, that is a 33% increase in durability. For our Leman Russes, that is a 16% increase in our durability. And worst case scenario, let's say the Chimera ends up being toughness 9. It still means we're getting a 16% increase in durability. We're still not being wounded as often by these anti-tank weapons. But not only are our tanks getting tougher, they're also getting more deadly. Because Games Workshop, in their infinite wisdom, have brought back the Chimera firing deck, which allows models embarked inside the vehicle to shoot out. Now, to be clear, this isn't going to be a full-blown open-topped rule. You won't be able to have every single guardsman in your army fire out of that little back hatch of the Chimera. But Games Workshop did confirm in an article on Warhammer Community that the Chimera will be getting a firing deck value of 2. This means that 2 models can shoot out of the back. Oh, by the Emperor, I am very ready for my Acadian shock troopers to be firing melter guns and plasma guns out of the top of my Chimera, whilst also blazing away on those lasgun arrays. Plus, you've got the firepower of the Chimera itself with the heavy stubber and the multi-laser and the heavy bolter. These things are going to be spitting out 7 different kinds of death into the opponent's face, and I am ready for it. But it's not just the purple-eyed mutants of Cadia which are going to go well in the back of a Chimera. You've also got loads of other units that are going to benefit from this firing deck. To start off with, the basic infantry squad. I actually predict that'll be way more useful in a Chimera. Think about it. Chimeras have got a lot of long-range firepower. They've got heavy bolters, multi-lasers, heavy stubbers. These things fire out to 36-inch range. But if you're putting a bunch of Cadian shock troops in the back, you really want to be getting up close and personal so you can make best use of that melter gun. But the Chimera, if it gets too close, might end up getting embroiled in combat, getting wrapped and trapped, and you might not want that to happen. But if you put an infantry squad in the back, you can give it a las cannon. And that las cannon has a weapon that not only complements the Chimera's own range profiles, but also gives the Chimera something it's lacking, which is a proper anti-tank shot. Sure, the Chimera has got loads of anti-infantry firepower. It's great at scything down enemy light and medium infantry, but whenever it gets into combat with a proper enemy tank, it tends to struggle. Stack a las cannon or 2 in the back if you take a heavy weapon squad, and you've finally got a vehicle that is going to be able to put out all the kinds of firepower it needs to be successful on the battlefield. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many cool things that can take advantage of a Chimera's firing deck. What about a 5-man silence squad with a plasma gun and a volley? Better ballistic skill than regular guardsmen, and probably cheaper as well. If you're an absolute mad lad, you might want to put a Catachan squad in the back. 2 heavy flamers on the Chimera, 2 flamers on the Catachans. All the Bernie death you could ever want. You've also got command squads. They've always been closely linked with the Chimera because on the fluff it's a mobile command vehicle, and we know that that rule is transitioning over from 9th to 10th edition as well. You can have a Cadian command squad with a plasma gun and a melter gun shooting out the back. Or you could have a platoon command squad with a las cannon and a plasma gun. It actually means that there's a good reason to take that platoon command squad rather than always defaulting to the Cadian one. But the unit I am most excited for, the one that I think will be the biggest meme, is Ogrins. If you put 3 Ogres in the back of a Chimera and 2 of them shoot out the back, you combine that with the fact that the Chimera can take 2 of its own heavy bolters, you are basically running around with the equivalent of a quad heavy bolter Chimera. But it's not just what you can put in the Chimera that's giving it even more firepower, because Games Workshop has updated the profile for the Hunter-Killer missile, and it appears that it will now return to its former glory. It is going to be hitting on a 2+ at strength 14 with big AP and big damage. And if there's one faction that can spam Hunter-Killer missiles, it's the Imperial Guard. I wouldn't be surprised, depending on points cost of course, if you see Mech Guard players going into battle with 20+ Hunter-Killers in the line. I mean, you've got Sentinels, you've got Chimeras, you've got Lehman Russes. You strap a Hunter-Killer missile to every man jack of them, you're going to be able to unleash one hell of a first turn volley. But just when you thought you couldn't possibly get any more erect, remember that Games Workshop has changed how heavy weapons work. No longer do you get a penalty for moving and shooting, but instead you get a bonus for staying still. So you can drive around at top speed and all the guys inside can shoot with no problems whatsoever. And if you do decide to stay still, then suddenly all of your vehicles and all of the guys inside will probably be hitting on a +1 ballistic skill modifier. And that's not all, because it's time for some baseless speculation. You see, right now, Guard has access to the Order Full Throttle. It allows you to move and advance and count as being stationary. If you're able to move your Chimeras and them count as being stationary, it means that all of the heavy weapons on that vehicle are going to get +1 to hit, and that will also count for the people that are shooting out of the back. So you thought that turret weapon on your multi-laser was good, but imagine having +1 to hit on every single weapon, even after you've moved. But speaking of movement shenanigans, Games Workshop has decided they're going to reset the clock. We are dialing it back to 7th edition. We are full on Doctor Whoing this bitch. Because no longer do you need to cool your heels inside your transport after it has moved. No, the Chimera can move and the men can get out in the same turn. Sure, they can't charge, but sir, do you know what army I'm playing? I'm playing guard, all right? Charge phase, it ain't really our bag, all right? So the fact that I can drive up to people and jump out with my squad of, I don't know, Kazakin and just unleash laser death into them makes me a very, very happy guard player. Now, there are loads of reasons why I absolutely love this. Firstly, it makes transports feel like transports. It was so dumb that for nearly all of 8th and 9th edition, your guardsmen were better off and were often faster moving around on foot than they were inside a Chimera. Now, I know that GW did it for balance reasons. They were trying to stop people getting turn 1 charges, all that kind of good stuff. But honestly, it was just such a ball ache, and it made Mech Guard armies feel so inflexible, and it kind of made them feel impotent. Not only is this returning the feel and the vigor to the mechanized guard, but it's also giving you a couple of cool tactical options. Most of the time, your infantry is going to want to stay in the Chimera and it's going to want to shoot out from the safety, of course. But there are going to be those units that will be more impressive if they can disembark. For example, you don't want to put a unit of Kazakin with their 4 special weapons, 5 special weapons if you include that sniper rifle, in a Chimera and use it as a pillbox, because you're barely using half of your special weapons. You're better off using a Cadian squad or a Scion squad to do that. I've got images in my head of 3 Kazakin squads in 3 Chimeras forming up an arrowhead formation, driving straight into the enemy lines, disembarking and clearing the entire area of anything that has more than 2 legs. But it also means that Guard finally has a viable Alpha Strike potential. For too long, we have been the faction that has just got punched in the face, and we've had to hope that once the enemy has got the drop on us, we have enough forces to punch back. But now we can be the ones that go on the offensive. It doesn't mean you're going to do it every single game, but if you see that you're facing off against a particular army or particular army list, and you're like, you know what, it might cost me a lot of points, but me throwing this armored fist forward might actually allow me to get an early game lead. And that's really cool, it's really powerful, and it also is more tools to have in the Guard toolbox. However, whilst it might not be as exciting as the daring raids of the true Emperor's Finest, I think the more common way you're going to see these new move and disembark rules used is to take objectives. You can finally move a Chimera forward, and you can finally disembark and move the squad onto an objective, and you can finally actually take some God Emperor damned ground in the early game. Another thing that Guard has really struggled with, something that has held us back from being in the big leagues, even with our new codex, has been that ability to take and hold ground. Often we can kind of take it a bit, but then we just get blown off it. But if we're able to move and disembark good and durable units onto the objectives, if we're able to take massive amounts of Chimeras and transports and just flood the objectives with armor and men and firepower and faith in the Emperor, it's going to give us a much needed strategic boost and not just a power boost. Now, taking all of this brilliant information and adding it together, I think it's fairly obvious that Mech Guard is back on the menu, baby. I think we are returning to the glory days of 5th edition Leaf Blower. Of course, we don't have the full picture yet. We don't know what the missions are going to be. That's going to be massive. And of course, this whole thing could live and die on its points cost. But the feeling I'm getting from Games Workshop, the feeling I'm getting from all of this, is that they want the game to move away from being all about elite infantry, and instead they want people to start taking their transports and their tanks again. I fully support this move because I think it's going to make the game feel much more immersive and, dare I say it, realistic. I know 40k isn't realistic, but it has always been a bit silly that you are rewarded for walking around on foot more than you are for going around in a tank or a transport. So hopefully, with this new edition, putting a focus on armor, it's going to make the whole game just feel a little bit more right. But that's like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Are you excited for Mech Guard? And if you are, what is the unit that you have got your eye on the most? Thank you for watching today's video. If you've enjoyed it, then make sure you smash that like button like I'm going to smash my chimeras into my enemies' lines, and also subscribe to never miss an episode. If you found today's video particularly interesting, fun, or informative, then please consider becoming a channel member or Patreon supporter. One of the big perks of becoming a supporter is you gain access to the Mordy and Glory Discord server, an online community with well over 1,000 people in it. It's really popped off and exploded in the last few months, and we've got channels in there for talking about army lists, tactics, 10th edition painting, hobbying, and we've even got a pretty spicy meme section as well. And I just want to take a moment to say a big thank you to all of the latest channel members. So a massive thank you to Mike Parry, Fisty Steve, Dragonetti, Hex Evolved Lazy Boy, and Drew Brownlee. Thank you guys for doing your part. I'm also going to do a shout out to the latest Patreons as well. So a big thank you to Deathcore Commander, Peter Stella, Tyson Bowman, Craig Smith, Adam Canklin, and the Commissar 357. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreon supporters. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a massive thank you to Alan Blunt III, Bonbon Vert, Mark Panconi, Ridemaster 134-1, Ross Miller, Swordfish Trombone, John Stubbs, Diesel Fox, and August Varney. Thank you guys. Your ongoing and incredibly generous support makes a huge difference. I hope you've all enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching, and of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.